Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is on some of the social media components of BNI Connect. So really it comes down to how we interact with other people in BNI around the world. One of the great things about BNI Connect is that for the first time in the history of BNI, just about every member around the world is all part of one system. Before BNI Connect, if I wanted to find the name of a member in another region, I happen to be in the Rhode Island region, if I wanted to find a member in New York or Florida or California, I'd have to go and try to find their regional website and maybe Google it and see if I could find somebody, and then even then the information may or may not have been updated properly. With BNI Connect, again, all 160,000 members all across the United States, in Europe, Africa, Asia, are all in BNI Connect. So a couple of housekeeping things before we begin. This is a live webinar. That means that if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask them as we're going along. The best way to do that is by typing your questions into the question panel. I'll see them pop up on the screen, and I'll be able to answer those as we're going through the material. This webinar is also being recorded so that people can review it later. The video will be made and available in a couple of different places, the first of which is on the support site. So if you go to the support site, you can get there by clicking on this question mark here in BNI Connect in the upper right-hand corner. That will take you over to our support site, which is support.bniconnect.com. You'll see our list of upcoming webinars, and then in the chapter training and documentation section, you will see the recorded webinars broken out by month, and you can click on any of those videos and review them. You can also go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. This has all of our various videos surrounding BNI Connect, including some special videos from Dr. Meisner, some educational moments, and of course all of the recorded webinars. This webinar is scheduled for about a half-hour worth of content, so I do like to try to wrap up the content right at the bottom of the hour. That being said, I am always happy to stay on these webinars as long as people have questions. So do feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like, and we'll be sure to get them all answered. All right, so let's get started. The social media aspect of BNI Connect. Now, what we're going to be talking about is connections, groups, testimonials. Again, the things that we can use to interact with other members within BNI Connect. One of the most important things that you need to do, though, before you start interacting with other people is to make sure that you have your profile filled out. That way that you're establishing visibility and credibility when people find you. There's nothing worse than coming across somebody and not seeing a picture and not knowing any information about them. The way to update the information on your account is by clicking on the My Account button up here in the upper right-hand corner. That will take you to all the various aspects of your profile. You'll see that it's broken into a number of tabs along the top. I'm not going to go too far into detail with this because we have a whole webinar dedicated to filling out your profile. But you'll see the first page has some generic information on it, stuff about your company, your My Business description, your keywords. The second page has your profile picture and company logo. The third tab has all of your contact details. The fourth has your preferences as far as connections go. The fifth tab has your bio. And if you are a director, you'll have a director bio and a training history as well. When we're talking about connecting with other people around the world, one of the most important things that you can fill out, aside from, of course, all of your information that'll help build credibility, is your keywords. The keywords are located on the first tab of the profile, and we'll see them right here. Now, why these are important is because most of the time when other people are looking for you in BNI Connect through the member directory, they're not necessarily going to know your name. However, they'll be looking for certain services. Now, of course, it's going to search by your industry and your classification, But that may not be enough for the common terms that people might be searching for. So you need to make sure that you put those into your keywords down here. Another thing that you might want to consider when it comes to the keywords is location-based keywords. For example, you can see I put the abbreviations for Massachusetts and Connecticut in here. Now the reason for that is that here in Rhode Island, I happen to be a member in Rhode Island in the Wakefield chapter. Rhode Island's a really, really small state. It's only 20 miles wide by about 40 miles long. That means that most people that do business in Rhode Island end up going over the borders quite a bit into Connecticut and Massachusetts. Now when people search for my services in Rhode Island, they're going to find me. That's based on my address details. However, if they do a search for computer services in, let's say, Connecticut or Massachusetts, they might not find me, though I might want to be found. So if you have some type of location in your keywords, that will help out. That also works for really big states like California and Texas, where you may want to include certain cities or certain counties that you want to make sure that you're found for. Now, how do we connect with other people in BNI Connect? Well, going from your home screen here, you'll notice that there's a My Network link. Now, this My Network link will bring you to all the different social media components. We have the connections, we have the groups, we have the documents, we have testimonials, events, and an internal messaging system as well. The connections is kind of like your address book for BNI, all the people that you have established some kind of relationship with. Now we can add people to our connections by going to the magnifying glass to search for them, or by clicking on this Add button underneath Connections. So I'm going to click on the magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner. And here's where you can search the BNI Global Directory for other members around the world. Now this is really easy if you happen to know the person's name. So if you happen to know the person's name, like we have Gary Ma on the webinar with us today. So if I was going to search for Gary Ma, it would search through all of the members around the world, find any exact matches, and then based on my input, try to find some other matches. If I click on Gary, it'll then pull up his profile. So I can see that Gary is in the United States. He's in the Rhode Island region, here with me, and he's in the BNI Capital Gains chapter. Unfortunately, there's not any other information that I can use to connect with him, so he's not displaying his phone numbers right now, and he doesn't have his picture or company logo up yet. But if I wanted to, I could still connect with him by clicking on Add Gary to my connections. From the search screen, if I know he's the right person right away, I can also click on the plus sign in order to send him a connection request. It'll put a generic message in there, or I can put in my own, such as thank you for being on the webinar today, and click Submit. Now this works for people that you may not know their name as well. Now this is a great opportunity to make sure that we're using BNI resources for other people within our own networks in order to provide referrals. Now, for example, if you have a grandmother or grandfather in Florida, or you have an aunt and uncle in Ohio, or maybe you have a cousin in California, if you'd like to, they come to you and say they have a need, you can help them out. Or let's say that you're traveling. So this past weekend was the U.S. National Conference, and let's say that I wanted to get a massage while I was in Nashville, Tennessee. I could type in massage therapist and type in Tennessee. And this would return all of the massage therapists that are listed in the Tennessee region. And I can look through the various cities. I can even do a secondary search on this list by typing something in to the refine button. So if I know I want to look for Knoxville, I could start typing in Knox and it'll filter this list. From there, I can also go through and click on the members' profiles and find out some more information about them. Now, one thing that I was on a webinar with Dr. Meisner a couple of months ago, and we did the same exercise. One thing we found is that people are using the system every day to pass referrals. Now, when you come across a profile that doesn't have any contact information like phone numbers, more than likely what you're going to do is just close this one and maybe move on to the next person until you can find somebody that you can contact. And what Dr. Meisner said was, listen, I can't guarantee that you'll get any more business just by having your profile filled out. But I can say that if you don't have your profile filled out, you probably won't get any more business. So with this person, I would probably call this person first because I can actually dial them on the telephone. Now there's also an advanced search. So if you want to get a little bit more granular in your search and look in specific areas and specific categories, you can click on the advanced search button up here in the upper right-hand corner. Now we still have the opportunity to search for keyword, but now we can get very specific on the fields that we're looking for. So if I'm looking for, let's say, websites, and I'm specifically looking for somebody in India, I could then search for people that do websites in India, and I get a number of exact matches. Now, what happens when we start sending and receiving connection requests? Well, we do need to manage those connection requests. So people will need to accept your connection in order for them to appear in your connections list. So going back to my Network page here, the place that I would do that is by going into Manage My Connections. I could also go to Network Connections on the drop-down menu up here. Now the connections is really your BNI address book. So you can see all the people. I have 379 connections right now. Those are people that I have connected with around the world. I can scroll through the list here of just their names, or I could scroll through the list that includes their pictures. When I click on one of them, it'll show me the details, such as their email, their phone number, their industry, and it'll give me a number of other options as well. I could send this person a message. I can ask them for a testimonial. I could give them a testimonial. I could view their full profile, or I can remove them from my connections. One thing to keep in mind is that even if you haven't reached out and connected with anybody, you will automatically be connected to all of the people in your chapter. So your chapter members are connections that are managed automatically by BNI Connect. So as new members come into your chapter, you'll be automatically connected to them. As members leave your chapter, you'll be automatically disconnected from them. If you were to view one of the members of your chapter, so let's say I was looking at Angela Moon, who's the residential mortgage person in our chapter, you notice that I don't have a remove Angela from my connections. And again, that's because she's in the same chapter that I'm in. And since I've already given her a testimonial, you'll notice that that testimonial isn't there either. Now, what about when people send you connection requests? How do you accept them? Well, that'll still be in the My Connections interface, and you would click on Received Requests. From here, we can see the various people that have sent you connection requests. Now you can click and read their message if you'd like to, or view their profile to make sure that you know who the person is. And again, if I click Read Message, that will allow me to read the message of what she sent. From there, I can choose to either accept, ignore, or reject that request. If you have multiple connections, you can also choose Select All and Connect to Selected. And that'll connect to all of the connections at once. As you're going through and sending connection requests to people, you can also check who hasn't responded to your connection requests through the Sent Requests. And if you need to remind somebody, you can do so by clicking on the Remind button. That will send them a message to say, please accept my connection request. So one of the other things that we can do with our connections is to send and receive testimonials with them. These are great credibility builders that display on your profile. So we can get there by clicking on the Testimonials button here within the My Connections, or we can view them back on the home screen by clicking on Manage under Testimonials. So here we can see all the testimonials that we've received. If we click on the person's name, we'll see the testimonial that they wrote for you. You can choose to display or hide it, or you can choose to delete it from your profile. You can also review the testimonials that you've given to other people. And review it if there are testimonial requests. Now, these will display on your profile to other members that find you in BNI Connect. You can view your own profile to see how it looks to other people by clicking on this profile link at the bottom of each screen. And we can see that on the Thumbs Up tab here, that's where the testimonials will be displayed. You'll notice on your profile that you also have a button, or a tab rather, that allows you to share photos. It also allows you to share things like testimonials that you might receive from outside vendors, because obviously a person that might be a client that's not a member of BNI wouldn't be able to leave you a testimonial. However, if you'd like to, you can always scan that testimonial in, and as long as you can make it into a JPEG or a PNG file, you would be able to put that photo up onto your profile. Now, the place to upload photos to your profile is by clicking on Network, Picture Gallery. You can edit or delete photos from here. And clicking the Upload button, you can search and upload to your profile. Put a title and click Submit. Going back to the My Network page, a couple of the other things on here. Your region may share documents with various members around the region. Things like the meeting agenda or membership committee control letters. You'd find these all up in your regional documents section. To view these, just click on the More button, and you can see all of the various documents that your region has uploaded. Now, this does vary region by region, so if you're looking for specific documents and they're not in there, please check with your director consultant or your executive director, and they'll be able to help you with that. Now, Bob asks a question. He says, are there limits on the number of pictures that can be uploaded? So the picture gallery, this picture gallery does have a limit of 20 photos. So 5, 10, 15, 20 photos on the picture gallery. So hope that helps, Bob. You can also view your regional events from here. And there's also an internal messaging system. So you can send messages to your other connections within BNI Connect. So you can choose somebody from the list or hit the control button and you can actually choose multiple people. Or you can choose everybody if you'd like to. All you need to do is type in a message and click Send. Messages that you receive will show up in your inbox. You can access that through the mail icon in the upper right-hand corner. The last thing I want to show you today is, hold on, we have a question from Dawn. Dawn says, are documents viewable by everyone in a chapter, or can they be viewed by leadership team only, for example? And Dawn, that matters, or that depends on the document itself. The region has the ability to upload a document and make it available to specific groups of people, for example, all educational coordinators or all members, or just for, let's say, presidents and vice presidents. So you may, let's say that you're a president for this particular term. You would see all of those president documents now, but when you are no longer a president, you wouldn't be able to see those documents anymore. So hopefully that answers your question, Dawn. All right. So the last thing I wanted to show you guys today before we hit the bottom of the hour here is the groups functionality. Now, the groups functionality is a great way to really start that international conversation. So we can join, participate, or even start conversations with other members around the world. You can see any groups that you're a part of listed here on the My Network page, and you can get into all the groups function by clicking on Manage under this Groups tile. You can also get there by going to Network, Groups. Here you'll see all of the groups in BNI Connect. Now you'll notice right now that there is a total of 2,297 groups. That's quite a lot of groups. You can scroll through them page by page by page if you'd like to, and you'll see that there are groups on all sorts of topics: wedding powerhouse referrals, website developers, attorneys. I have a group called BNI Connect Webinars. If there's any of these groups that you would like to join and participate in, all you need to do is click the button that says Join Group. That will allow you to participate in the conversation. Now, you can also just click on a group. For example, if I was going to click on a senior minute, I could see all the topics. I could click on one of the topics and read the conversation. As a member of the group, you could also post a message into the conversation. If you'd like to search for specific groups, you can do that by using this magnifying glass icon. You can search by keywords or by creator. So let's say I'd like to find all the groups that were done by Dr. Meisner. I can see that there's currently 2 groups from Dr. Meisner and 1 from his wife Beth for the BNI Foundation. If you'd like to join one of the groups, again, just click the Join Group. My recommendation is that you join the From the Founder group and the Why BNI group. And the reason for that is this group is run by Dr. Meisner himself. He personally responds to any of the messages that are in there, and it's a great way to hear about a lot of the things that are going on in his networking world. Right now, we've got a current activity in there of activities that drive me crazy at a chapter, and there's been a lot of commentary on that. The great thing about the groups is that, again, it allows you to build relationships with other members from around the world. So when we go into the group, the other thing that we can do is look at who's participating in that group. And from here, we can click on their profile. And once you're in their profile, you can even send them a connection request. One of the other great things is that you can also create up to 7 of your own groups in BNI Connect. You can do this by clicking on the Add button. Now you can create groups for nearly anything that you'd like. All you need to do is give the group a name. Choose an access type. Now there's 2 different access types, view and post. When the access type is set to view, that means that anybody can view the messages that are happening, but in order to post, you need to become a member of the group. View and post would mean that even people that are not members of the group can post as well. An open group means that it's available in the search function. Anybody can find this group, join it, and participate in it. An invite only is the same as a hidden group. So it will not be accessible to people. They won't be able to find it in the search. They have to be invited to that group. In the case of invite only, only the moderators and the owner of the group can invite people. A members can invite is still a hidden group, but anybody that becomes part of that group can then further invite new people. Give the group a description. The language setting just lets people know what language it's in. It does not do any automatic translations. And then you can also choose any of your contacts that you might wish to invite right away. Once you click Submit, the group will be created, and all that's left to do is to start a conversation. So we are at the bottom of the hour. What I'd like to do is for anybody that does need to leave right away to get back to their pressing duties of the day, I would like to thank you for being here. Just a reminder that this is being recorded. It will be made available at youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, along with all of our other recorded videos and other content. You can also find us on facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. And please remember the support site, support.bniconnect.com, or just click the question mark here in BNI Connect. What I would like to do is to open this up for questions. If anybody does have any questions whatsoever, it could be about the social media functions within BNI Connect, or it could be about anything in the system. I'd be happy to answer those questions now. All right, so we do have a question here from Toby Boyce. Can you go back to how to add a testimonial? Absolutely. So to give testimonials, that's done through your connections. So you can only give testimonials and receive testimonials from people that you're connected with. So what you want to do is go into your connections. So from the My Network tab here, you can click on Manage in your connections. You can also go to Network Connections. Click on the person that you'd like to give a testimonial to or receive a testimonial from, and you can choose to give the person a testimonial, or you can ask for a testimonial from them. So does that answer your question, Toby? And Dawn has a follow-up. What if a person does a testimonial and it isn't really worded well or supporting your business? Can you advise them to revise it or hide it? Yes, that is managed through the Testimonials button. So once you're in My Connections, click on Testimonials, and this is where you can manage all of your testimonials. So here's the testimonials that I've received. If I wanted to hide this one, I could uncheck to display this on my profile. Now it will be hidden. I could also choose to delete this testimonial and then possibly go back and request a new testimonial from Jason. So does that make sense, Don? Does that help? All right, let's see. Vinny says, I just joined the two groups you recommended. Is there a way to sort the participants by category or geography or occupation? And Vinny, unfortunately, right now there's not. I think that makes an excellent suggestion. All you need to do is to, if you could, post that on our support site. So click on the question mark here in BNI Connect, and that'll take you over to our support site. And you'll notice in the public forums, there's a suggestions and enhancement requests. If you could post that in there, I think that would be absolutely wonderful, and I'd love to get that off to the project manager and the programmers and everybody else to consider that for a future release. So thank you, Vinny. That's the last question that I have in my list. Does anybody else have any other questions whatsoever? Be happy to answer those. All right, if there's no more questions, again, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today. If you enjoyed today's content or if you learned something new today, oh, hold on a second. We have another question. Dawn says, if we enter info in English, is there a translation for other nations? For the content that you put in, unfortunately, no, there is not an automatic translation. A lot of the things on the screen, such as all the headers and things like that, those are all translated into other languages, but there is not an automatic translation for things that you might put in text. So. All right. So again, thank you everybody for being here. If you learned something new today, a good referral for me is to please let your other chapter members and let your regions know about these webinars and invite them to participate in the learning as well. On the support site, you will see all of the upcoming webinars. We have a couple more left this month. We have one tomorrow, and that's on the member tools and reports. We're going to dig a little deeper into BNI Connect. We have one on visitors on the 29th and one for maintaining your chapter website on April 30th. So Toby says, what is BNI social media marks? I'm not sure what that is, Toby. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, so our Twitter account, it's twitter.com at BNI Connect. So twitter.com/BNI Connect or at BNI Connect. And this is our Twitter account. All right, and Facebook is facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Unfortunately, Facebook, somebody else took BNI Connect, so we have our full name, BNI Connect Global. So you can give us a like up there. We do webinar announcements and tips and tricks and release reminders and all sorts of things up on our Facebook site as well. All right. Excellent, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Happy connecting, everyone.